Okay, today I am going to review a kinda old military game called Spec Ops Ranger Elite. It was developed by Runacraft and it was originally released on PlayStation in the beginning of the 21st century. So in this game you play as an American Special Force soldier, and your main objective is to stop international terrorists from doing their dirty jobs. And of course, you can't have a game like this without those classical terrorists from Middle East. Like that guy, right over there. But let's continue. Before you can start your mission, you have to choose your rangers, and they all have their own specialties. For example, a rifleman is expert in using assault rifles, and grenadier is deadly accurate when throwing grenades. And the next thing you'll have to do is to select your weapons. There are pretty much weapons for a PlayStation 1 game. There are from shotguns to snipers, and from submachine guns to assault rifles. But I still prefer snipers, because they have so large range, they are so effective, and they come with a scope, of course. What's the point to try to get close to enemies and get shot, when you can shoot them from miles away? And then you can choose your grenades and subtle charges. And that's about it. And the next thing you will have to do is to choose the other ranger and select the weapons for him, and then you can start your mission. In mission 1, you're in Alaska. The first mission is divided into 3 parts. In part 1, you'll have to defuse bombs which are scattered all over a pipeline. In part 2, you'll have to rescue an FBI agent. And in part 3, you'll have to blow up this thing. The following missions aren't very different from the first one, which makes this game repetitive and boring. The basic controls are good enough. Moving around is easy, and the controls are not stiff. You can also crouch and lay down to avoid to be spotted. Some of the controls can be a little tricky, like placing satchel charges, but after a few minutes they are not a problem. You have also the ability to command your body, which is really cool. And you have an inventory, but it isn't really one of the best ones, and as I said, it takes some time to get used to it. The missions in this game are not very complicated, which is a good thing. For example, in the first part of the first mission, you'll just have to go to waypoint 1, defuse all the bombs, and go to waypoint 2, and then you have completed this part. Simple and enjoyable. But let's talk a little more about this part. There are a total of 6 bombs that you're trying to defuse, and if you have missed only 1 bomb, it can be very frustrating to go trying to find it. Because the bombs are so tiny and sometimes hardly visible. Look, there is actually a bomb on the wall. It's that tiny dot over there. And you have also got a time limit. Yeah, in the upper right corner. It doesn't show well, but there it is. It's not really a bad thing, and it just adds some challenge. And another weird thing about this game is that you collect points. That's pretty unique. But enough about that, let's continue. In the second part of the first mission, you meet your second worst enemy. the snipers. They can kill you with only a few shots, and they can shoot you from miles away. But luckily, there are only a few of these guys. But in the beginning of the final part of the first mission, you meet your worst enemy, the bad graphics. I mean, how are you supposed to see that there's an enemy behind that fence? I mean, it's nearly impossible. And he can shoot you with no problem, of course. And here's another example. I'm being shot by an enemy that I haven't been spotted because of the bad graphics. You just gotta get used to him. But let's talk about another things. There's one thing that makes this game kinda realistic, and it's that you can't use only one type of ranger all the time. The machine gun expert, for example, look. There is a meter under the picture of him, and if the meter is running low, you should think to change ranger, because he's not in the best condition of his life right now. Sometimes in this game, navigation can be extremely hard, especially in the second mission where you are in Afghanistan. The map you've got is poor, and so is the compass. So it's extremely hard to navigate in this kind of environment, but it's extremely easy to get lost. And the best way to navigate is to use landmarks. And as I said before, the rest of the game isn't very different from the first mission, which makes this game a boring one. Spec Ops Ranger Elite is an ordinary military game. It has got some good controls, plenty of weapons to choose from, and entertaining missions. But it has got some bad graphics, poor navigation instruments, and game is repetitive. But still, these things doesn't ruin the game, and it's enjoyable to play. So in a scale from 1 to 10, this game would be 6.5.